And then I started doing it with my kids. And then I'm like, you know what, this could be helpful for everyone. I mean, life is super hard, and getting good at it, we could all use some help. So, and I felt really good about my kids, being in a good place. I'm like, I want to help others be in a good place. And so that's where I am right now, trying to do something, create software with a purpose.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stephenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where our mission is to empower you to live your best audacious life ever. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, sharing insights and inspirations that motivate you to reach for the stars. I really want to thank you for dedicating part of your day to join us on this journey towards our greatness. Now, today we're going to dive into some powerful topics that can transform the way you approach your life. And for a moment, I want you to think of self-reflection as a compass that's guiding you through the forest of your experiences, helping you identify both your strengths as well as your areas for improvement. Now, just like a skilled hiker knows the importance of balance between navigating rocky terrain and enjoying the beauty of nature, finding balance in life means looking beyond just what happens in our work life as well as both work-life balance, I should say. It encompasses health, relationships, and careers, creating a holistic view of what it means to thrive. All these things we've got to look at. And just as the way, the strongest trees in the forest grow from deep interconnected roots, investing time in relationships is absolutely essential for a fulfilling life. Now, today's guest, Bill Zujewski, he's a seasoned entrepreneur and CEO of The Good Life, and he understands this all too well. Bill has dedicated himself to creating innovative tools that help individuals assess as well as improve their life balance through something that he calls the Zen Score and Life Score systems. And you'll hear all about that in further detail when you hear from Bill. But his mission is to empower people to take control of their lives and find fulfillment across all areas, things like health, relationships, career, and personal growth. It's really an enlightening conversation. Bill has some insights that I think you'll all enjoy. So without any further ado, let's turn to our conversation with Bill. Hey, Bill, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. I definitely appreciate you being here. It's been great to connect with you this way, and I appreciate you for taking the time to do this.
I'm super excited, Audley. I don't know where this is going to take us, but I'm sure we're going to have some interesting content for the listeners.
Isn't that the best part about that? You don't know where it's going to go, right? And actually really think about it as some of the principles of living audaciously, right? Like I think it's, Martin Luther King has a quote about, taking that step, but not being able to see the rest of the staircase, right? But just kind of trusting in your own self. And I think that's a really key lesson in life because we have no guarantees how things will go. We don't know where we'll end up. We have no idea what's around the corner. But if we don't try, we'll never find out anyways, right?
Exactly right. I mean, fear is real, but courage is one of those values that in the face of fear, you go on. So I hope it's a great characteristics everyone should have.
Feel the fear and take it and take that first step anyways, is what I tell people all the time. I wonder maybe as a starting point, Bill, before we go deep into to the convo here, if we give our listeners an opportunity to understand a little bit about what you learn about your work. So if you can introduce yourself, talk about the work that you do and what's got you to the point that you're at now.
Sure. Let's start where I am now. I'm the CEO of a company called Good Life, founder of this company. It's a software company that's created a Zen Score and a Life Score to really a personal dashboard for life. So if you go, I don't know how I ended up here, so I'll take you back. Graduated from college as an engineer, and then somehow got into marketing for high-tech software companies. for like 20 years. That space, I was lucky. Software is a good place to be in the last 20 years. So,
Mhm.
been pretty fortunate there. And then got the entrepreneurship bug about 7 years ago. Founded a company called Green Business Bureau, joined two other founders who started the company. We sold that a couple of years ago. Now I'm trying my own thing. I launched Good Life about a year ago with this concept of a life score, and we'll see where it goes.
Was there any sort of, I don't know, pivotal moment that happened for you that make you recognize or understand the importance of kind of helping others? Because really what you're looking to do is, from what I understand, is really help others create a balanced life or fulfilled life, if you will. And
Yeah.
yeah, what got you there? Is there something that
Yeah, what got
happened?
me there is, yeah. So two things. One is I did reach a phase where the paycheck started to become not meaningless. Of course, we all need to pay our bills, but way less important than trying to work on my purpose. And for 20 years, oddly, I've got four kids. They're all in their 20s. That was my purpose, right? And helping them live a balanced life, right? And so you go back. I even myself about 20 years ago, I used to do this little spreadsheet at the end of December. I'd rate myself. How's my net worth going? How is my career going? How's my relationship with my wife? And I'd score myself 0 to 10 in this little spreadsheet. And it was really helpful and self reflecting. And then I started doing it with my kids. And then I'm like, you know what? This could be helpful for everyone. I mean, life is super hard, and getting good at it, we could all use some help. So, and I felt really good about my kids, being in a good place. I'm like, I want to help others be in a good place. And so that's where I am right now, trying to do something, create software with a purpose.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Makes total sense. For those that maybe aren't sort of familiar with Zen Score and kind of what it is or how it works, can you give some? You can help our listeners kind of walk through understanding, Bill?
Yeah. So sure. So good life, the foundation is this notion of scores. Like
Okay.
there's no good metrics for life. The only one really out there is money and wealth, and that's a terrible metric for happiness and
Right.
longevity and fulfillment. So I thought I could create one. So the two scores that we've created here at Good Life, Zen Score takes 2 minutes. It's 11 questions. It's how you feel about kind of the wheel of life, the categories that you need to pay attention to. So obviously your health, your home environment, your leisure. It actually spells help grow, oddly, because so I know you have a little mnemonic brave, right? And so I'm a big believer in kind of mental
Oh,
framework. So
really?
so the 8 categories of life I use spell help grow. So health, environment, leisure, P for purpose, right? And then G for growth, R for your relationships, O for your occupation, and W for wealth. And you answer these quick 11 questions in those areas, and it spits out a score from 0 to 100 about how you feel about your life. So that's the first score. How do you
Yeah.
feel about all these areas? And then the other score is deeper. It's how you're doing, right? So it's
So
like
what's the first score called? The first score is that's
the
the
first one is Zen Score, right?
okay. Yeah.
So think Zen, feel, peace
Yep.
of mind, right? So that's the other one is a life score, and it's how you're doing. So what I try to do is, and thank God AI is out now, really help me come up with this, because I synthesized hundreds of books, reports on what do the people who are successful in their financial aspects do in life? What are the ones that are healthy do? What are the ones that have great relationships do? So I came up with this kind of almost playbook, like 100 things that people who do great at life do. And then so your life score kind of says, hey, do you save 10%? And for your wealth score, do you save 10% of your paycheck? Do you have a 401k? Or do you pay your credit cards off every month? So then that score is like a credit rating. It's like from 0 to 1,000, and it tells you, am I doing the right things in life?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And these scores, they can tell you a lot, right, about where you're at. Is there
Yeah.
is there a range that tells you how you're doing? Like, one
Yeah.
score, like, or how do you determine one score is better than the other, or is it very personal?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So like many things, um, you learn throughout life. Like the life score, I've noticed, like the younger generation takes it and they're going to score really low. But it's just like a credit rating. Like they're not saving 10% of their paycheck yet, and they're not doing all the right things. So that's fine. So I wouldn't say they're doing the wrong things, but they have so much room to improve. So your score will improve as you kind of go in life. Your Zen score, it's funny you should bring up kind of, what their score means, because the
Mhm.
first time it came out, my first version had only 10 questions, and people were scoring, in the 60s and 70s, and
Yeah.
they're like, is that a C? What does your mental mind do? Like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah,
God,
yeah.
I,
You
I, I
go back
got
to our conditioning, right?
I know, yeah.
People.
So I got a 72. Oh, damn it, I got a C in life. I like so and actually, so that was kind of, I added an 11th question, and most people don't even realize it. So the range actually goes up to 110 on how you feel about your life.
Yeah.
So it's closely, if you're in the 80s, that's a good score, right? And if you're over 90, that's what you want to get to. That's an A, right? So the Zen score does kind of map nicely now that I fixed it to kind of a grade.
Gotcha, gotcha. How did you come up with the idea of sort of quantifying, life balance through a scoring system?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm an engineer, first of all.
There we
So
go. Enough
I'm,
said.
yeah, yeah. So I'm super analytical.
Right.
And then I've been doing it for like 20 years. But then I noticed like my kids graduating college recently started asking me, Dad, what's the deal with like this credit rate? Mine's only like a 620. That my bank is saying that it's like kind of in the red zone. And so I'm like, well, if you get a credit card, you pay off your bills on time, you get your score. Oh, and so then he started, how do I get my score up to like 700? And I'm like realizing like, score, that's the world now we live in. Like kids love scores and points and badges and
Yeah.
like this whole gamification concept. I'm starting to think maybe that could work for life. So that's kind of, and there was no good metric. And no one actually, there was no, so I started doing research. There was no score for life. Like there was no one who could try to create that. So I kind of had to invent it on my own.
Hmm. What I think is really helpful and interesting with the Zen score process is, in life, I think most people, I know I'm speaking broadly and generally here, but I think
Yeah.
most people want to achieve balance. They want that.
Yeah.
For whatever reason or another, they don't have that.
Yeah.
And so by having the scoring system, it allows you to visually see this is where this is at. And again, the big part of this is you've got to be honest with yourself for sure. And we're going to make that
Right.
assumption that people are being totally honest with where they're at with those individual categories. But being able to actually see it is helpful because I would again, I'm guessing here that one of the challenges that people have in achieving this balance is they don't know where to start.
Right, right. No, 100%, right? So the process of finding your score is actually probably more important than the score itself, right? Actually stopping and self-reflecting on, yeah, where am I? Am I happy with my body and my health and my fitness? Am I happy with my finances? Am I happy with my friendships? And, am I happy with my life partner, right? So that makes you self-reflect for sure,
Right.
and kind of and give you some structure to, almost a mental model of where you want to be. And one thing that I realized that working with life coaches is when people think of balance, they don't think of what I'm thinking of. So I have to correct them. They think of like two buckets: work and non-work. Like, where's, am I spending too much time in work and not work? And I'm talking about balance across your relationships and your leisure, and taking time to learn and grow yourself, right? And taking time and to invest in career. So career is just one slice of those 8 slices. So I'm talking about balance across all these areas, not just the two big ones, work and non-work.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
So you referenced your book, and I got my copy here. What's your life score? A great read. I think it's really digestible, and I think the way you don't overcomplicate it, which I really much appreciate. So I appreciate
yeah.
that. What made you decide to write it? What inspired you? I mean, you've got you've got your company. It's essentially kind of based around the work of your company. But what made you think a book was the way to go?
Yeah, well, it's a few things drove it to a book. First of all, as I grow this company, I'm building a brand, right? So, and no one knows who Bill Zujewski is. I've been kind of behind the scenes for these companies like Oracle and PTC, big software companies. So I had to kind of get myself out there and build some trust and confidence
Hmm.
in Bill Zujewski. And so one way to do that is via becoming an author, right? The other thing is, and there's some self-interest here in driving a business, is it's a great marketing tool, right? Hey, check out my book. It talks about a score, talks about the app, and if you sign up, you get it free. And that's certainly the case now. If you sign up for Good Life and download the app, you get the book for free. And then when I started digging into it, for those out there who are thinking about writing a book, I don't know, Ali, if you have been thinking about it, it's not that hard anymore. You don't need to go and send copies to all these, publishers and hope you get seen. Literally, I did it for almost free. There's this Kindle creator tool that Amazon gives you. You can self-publish, and then that book you showed me, get Amazon can print that for $2.13. It's so cheap. So they've democratized the ability for someone to become an author. So I just took advantage of that.
Good, good. And how
Yeah.
does the book complement the Zen Source system overall? Does it work like, I'm assuming are they meant to work together? Is that kind of what you're
Oh
envisioning?
yeah, 100%. It actually explains it. And if you didn't want to get the mobile app software version of it, it's really a paper version of it. So each chapter, if ends with an assessment of what you should be doing in the HELP, GROW, those 8 areas of your
Yep.
life. So if you want, it won't spit out a score, but it will at least document for you kind of that playbook of how to get better in all those areas of your life. So it talks about the system and the Zen score, but also that book is also kind of like a playbook.
Got you, got you.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought the book was really helpful, and there's sort of exercises that you sort of are incorporating that. I wonder if there's one or two that sort of stand out for you that are key exercise that people can use to when they're looking to talk about achieving this balance and understanding their Zen score.
Yeah, I mean some things are that are in there are really about identifying the habits that you want to create in your life. Like how you live and how your life develops is based on, uh, getting to the gym to burn out stress and help with your fitness. You're drinking right now. One of the best practices for health is to stay hydrated, right? We know there's health benefits of that. So the book tries to kind of, give you those life tips, life hacks,
Right.
to get good at life.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
my guess is that you've probably got some interesting feedback from people that have gone through the system, and maybe people who have to learn about themselves. Anything surprising that came up for you?
Um, yes. I mean, I thought I was stating the obvious in most areas. But a lot of people said they learned about things, that my whole wealth score, the people like kind of knew how to get good at managing their money, but they never stopped and kind of dug into it to really, learn about that area. And the same with relationships. Like a lot of the people who didn't feel like they had strong relationships and friendships
Right.
were just felt like they were unfortunate that they didn't meet the right people. Well, actually, read the book. You have to invest in relationships. Like you have to take the time to listen to them, to spend time, go out to dinner, send them a text, communicate, help them, support them. And then the friendship, it starts with your love, right? And your investment, and then people reciprocate. So I think a lot of people were just thought they were drawing a bad hand and didn't realize actually no, that's not the case. You have control over improving in a lot of these areas, and you've got to make the investment, including relationships.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I don't want to put you on the spot here, Bill, at all.
sure.
But I certainly,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just curious about. So how you yourself personally stay grounded, given that there's a you want to as individuals we want to have alignment. I'm assuming that assuming the intent of the Zen score is getting alignment in your own life. How do you stay balanced and manage that, given that you're leading the charge on this and people are following your lead?
Yeah, no. I just wrote a LinkedIn article about this concept of living intentionally. And there's been a lot of famous people like Earl Nightingale, like you are what you think.
Hmm.
And my philosophy is that you can define the life you want. You could have a vision of having a family in the suburbs, having I had a vision in my life of who my wife would be, and it was pretty close to that where I landed. And I had a vision of 3 or 4 kids who I would be coaching, and wow, that ended up happening. So a lot, if you have a vision and kind of goals in all these areas, you'd be surprised how your day to day, hour to hour, week to week decisions start to reflect kind of that vision you have. So, you know, I I resigned from a job in California because I was traveling too much and it was not aligned with being with my family. I took a year off when 2 of my boys were in high school and one was in middle school to coach. Now that probably cost me a year of salary, but I wouldn't give it back for the life of me. So yeah, it's harder if you don't have a plan and a vision because you're just kind of reacting to life. But if you do have that vision, people say you have an intuition or these gut feelings. A lot of time it's because you've told your mind what you want and what you believe in, and then when things you do that aren't aligned with that, you get that feeling like, oh shit, this isn't what I stand for or what I
Right.
want to do. And you're like, oh, is that a gut feeling? Where does that even come from? Well, you'd be surprised. There's science behind it. You're actually creating that map, and your subconscious is always making decisions for you, and a lot of times it's what you programmed it to do.
Gotcha.
So that's what I believe in, at least.
Hmm.
That's my philosophy.
Yeah, well, no, I do agree with you because if if the way you're living your life isn't in line with what you see for your life, then you need to look at that and maybe understand why. And there could even be things specifically, the reasons why that is, but at least you need to uncover that to know, okay, what that will help inform what your next steps are, right? Do I continue
Yeah,
on this path or do I,
yeah,
recalibrate and shift my direction or focus? And so I think that's,
yeah,
I'm with
yeah.
you on that.
I'll give you one example of
Mhm.
a tip. I think it's worked out that I gave my 4 kids when they were choosing their university or college to go to. And so I was pretty fortunate. They were all going to go on to college, first of all, right? So pretty lucky there. But they were looking at schools, Chicago, California, in North Carolina. And I'm like, that's fine. But we live in New England. The schools are pretty good here. And I went to University of Connecticut and I lived in Connecticut. Now I live in Massachusetts.
Hmm.
And those relationships I made have become my inner circle of friends for the rest of my life. Like those college friends, it would be amazing if you went to school here and they all kind of lived around you and you wouldn't have to, sacrifice those friendships because, they were, you went to California and then you came back and there was no one there, right? So,
Right.
so little things like that, add up to creating kind of your life, right?
Gotcha, gotcha. I would absolutely love to get a definition of audacious living in your view, we're curious if you perhaps provide some insight. How do you think people can cultivate it in their own lives?
Yeah, no, I mean, clearly I've been fortunate and I'm taking a lot of risk. There's some risk in anything you do that's bold, and requires courage. But in most cases, your self-talk talks you out of it. Oh yeah, this isn't me. This isn't, so stop, stop over listening to kind of these random thoughts that are talking you out of it, usually the risk is you can recover from, right?
Right.
So changing careers, moving to a new place in the world, like these are big audacious decisions. um but hundreds, thousands, millions of people have made them. You could be one of those people who does something audacious, and you'll learn so much even in the failure of taking those audacious steps, so the second time you try it you'll do better, or now you know that that's not the right thing and now go on to something else. So someone told me something about building my brand right now. I want to be, have an interesting brand, and the statement was pretty easy. Well, go live an interesting life. Like right? I mean, you can't just create, like like what I mean? They like, so go do stuff,
Right.
man, right?
Right.
Experience life,
Right.
be audacious, and then your authentic self will reflect kind of the audacious person that you might have turned yourself into. So that's my definition of audacious. I feel like trying to create a company from scratch right now with no income coming in, that's like one of the hardest things to do in the
Yeah.
world. I don't know if I'm going to pull it off. But I have this attitude: if I don't, I don't. I'll move on to something else. So I have a plan B. So far, so good, fortunately, but we'll see.
Gotcha, gotcha. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Makes sense. We got lots of people out there that are looking to achieve this balanced life that you're alluding to a reference, and some may be overwhelmed, some may be feeling it's not possible. Any kind of advice that you give to those individuals that are struggling to get that achievement of balance?
I mean, well, clearly you should kind of understand what a balanced life is. So yeah, read my book and try my app. The
No,
app. So,
okay.
no,
There's no such thing as a shameless plug on the
yeah,
podcast. Let's
no,
say
of course, of course. But there's so it's hard to do it alone, right?
right.
So um, you might think about a coach that's going to hold you accountable to help you create that life you want. There's nothing wrong with that. I know you've got a basketball background. The best players in the world have multiple coaches helping them with multiple aspects of their life, including their game, right? So I think coach is one thing. I think you have to be careful about the circle of people that you surround yourself with, right? So you will become, if that circle is super career focused, and you may become overly career focused. If they're balanced people, you may become more balanced. So you will start to reflect kind of the people around you. So that's another tip. Like, and same with naysayers, right? If you have too many of those who don't believe in you or shoot you down, pick your friends wisely. I mean, that's another life hack. It's super important. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, okay. Um, Lastly, Bill, and I mean, this has been a phenomenal chat. I really appreciate the insights, and I think the Zen score, looking for that balance, is an exciting one because it really gives you, like I said earlier, that picture of where
Picture. Yeah.
where you're, and not only just where you're weak and where you're strong into. It's important to know both, right? And so
Yeah.
that helps there. If listeners could sort of take away kind of one action item, that step to start them designing, their best life or best audacious life, what would it be?
Yeah, no, start scoring your life. I mean, literally, think of a balanced life having a scorecard, that's just like maybe if you're a golfer and you're tracking how many putts you did here and how many chips and like what you're doing. Think of this scorecard of, did you take, how many vacations did you take, or how much time did you spend with your family and friends, and start. There's nothing wrong with kind of pausing, and I do it almost weekly. I mean, I started annually, and then
Yeah.
I started doing it kind of monthly, and now I do it weekly, and sometimes I actually daily will just stop and go through my, how's my health, how's my home, how's my purpose, and just go through a routine of thinking about those 8 areas. So yeah, that would be kind of my good summary is, It's possible. Companies have dashboards.
Yep.
Believe it or not, it's possible for individuals to kind of have this dashboard that kind of organizes their life and tracks their life.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing. For listeners who want to connect with you, learn more about you, get a copy of your book, or sign up for Zen Score, sign up and get their Zen Score, where can we
Yeah.
send them?
Yeah. So there's multiple places. So first of all, I'm the only Bill Zujewski
Okay.
in the world. So if
Okay.
you just
Okay.
and there's not many Zujewskis. So if you want the book, you can go to the Amazon and search for "What's Your Life Score" or Zujewski, Zujewski. So and then you could also DM me or connect with me. I like connecting with people and meeting people on LinkedIn. So I'm on LinkedIn every day. So connect with me on LinkedIn. And lastly, if you want the app, go to Good Life with Two Eyes, Good Life dot one word with two eyes.com, and you'll see what my system is there around the Zen Score and Life Score. And there's a free version you could download and find out what your Zen Score is in 2 minutes. Start there.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. What we'll do, make sure the contact details are in the show notes below and for easier access for our listeners. Bill, thank you for this. This has been a great chat. I really love the direct. I mean, I love the pivot, if you will, right, from the engineering background, software, until now you turn it into sort of a personal self-development application that people can use to better their lives. And so it's really a combination of all these worlds coming together in one. So congratulations on that. That is a big deal. And I think the app as well is a beautiful tool. And of course, the book at the very least will kind of get you on that path. And again, it's What's Your Life Score. Bill, thank you again for this. And I appreciate you being a guest on the Audacious Living podcast.
Audley, thank you so much for everything. It's been a pleasure. And I hope our listeners enjoyed it as well.
Great. Back, we are here on the podcast. In our chat with Bill, he shared some insights on the importance of self-reflection and how to create a personal dashboard for life, helping listeners gain clarity on where they stand and what steps they need to take to move forward. One of the key points that resonated with me was Bill's emphasis on the need for a comprehensive view of balance, how our lives are composed of various interconnected elements, and addressing each one is absolutely vital for overall health and happiness. What I personally loved about his practical approach, as he provided actionable steps for listeners to start scoring their lives today, is something that can be done immediately. I encourage you to connect with Bill directly to learn more about his work and the tools that he offers, as well as his book, your Life Score. You can find his contact details in the show notes below, along with he's got some special offers that he's made available for our listeners. So definitely connect with Bill to learn more about that. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Audacious Living podcast. If you've enjoyed our conversation today, please take a moment to follow, subscribe, or share this podcast to help us grow our community of audacious thinkers and doers. Remember, just like a tree needs strong roots to thrive, so do you need meaningful connections and a balanced life to reach your full potential. Let's keep growing together. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living podcast, hosted by Audley Stephenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.